Good evening. My name is Ray Dwyer, and this is Dr. Joe Dispenza's Meditation and Book Discussion Group. Tonight, we're discussing Becoming Supernatural, Chapter 11, Space Time and Time Space. Let me quote a little bit from the book on page 219. We live in a three-dimensional universe, uni meaning one, where everything that exists is made up of people, objects, places, and time. See, right there, I think there's a funny contradiction because time does not make anything. And yet, the illusion of time in this material universe is part of how we perceive it. There's just no easy way to intelligently talk about time as a subject. Next page, 220. The way you and I typically experience time is by moving our bodies through space, point A to point B. From here to here takes a moment of time for me to do that. It's a movement of speed and distance. It makes sense then that the greater the space, the distance between 2 points, the greater the time it takes to get from point one to point A. That's how we perceive it. We can say then that when there's a separation between 2 points in consciousness, as you move from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness, you are collapsing space. As a result of collapsing space, you experience time. As we move from here to here, I am collapsing that space, and the time, any point I stop, I've reduced the time. The completion of this chapter represents a future moment separate from the present moment. He's writing this chapter, and he said, it takes time for me to write this chapter. So time is an experience of space. As a result, you feel separate from them. I feel separate from you because I am physically identifying with my body, and you're physically identifying with your body. And so there is space between us, and it would take a fair amount of time for us to be in the same room together. It is a matter of separation. Separation is the perception of distance. Space-time is the physical Newtonian world based on known. Newtonian calculus calculates all kinds of curves and all kinds of durations of how to get from point A to point B and how much time it takes, the acceleration, deceleration, resistance, all that kind of stuff. Time space is a physical quantum world, an inverse reality of unknowns. Time space has no physical, it's all energy, it's all present. Without the physical universe, there is no separation. Without separation, there is no time, so everything is present. And in that presence, there is only energy, vibration, and frequency. In that, you tune. We'll get more into that. The quality of these interactions with our external environment creates lasting memories. We call this process experience. When two things happen, it's experience. From a quantum perspective, we're keeping our attention on the physical particle matter instead of on the immaterial wave of possibility energy. This is how we become immersed in this three-dimensional world. Because for us to survive and deal with life, we keep our physical senses attention on this physical life. And that is space time. And so our perception, our consciousness, our physical ego consciousness is very time oriented. All that makes very much sense, being space time, because we do it all the time. Uh, well, maybe not all the time. We do it a lot as we're in our physical sense, ego, mind. As we read in chapter 2, the long-term effect of living in survival mode is that we begin to thrive on and become addicted to these stress addictions. Stress is part of the communication of distance and separation. That's just part of how our brains work. And as you know by now, prolonged high beta trains the waves as you feel pain, anxiety, all that is stress. None of that is in time space. When you do this, you're giving quite a bit of your power away to someone or something. Now, all your attention and energy is anchored in the three-dimensional realm. That's how we live. That's how we survive. What we're practicing doing is to tap into our energy self. The more you're living in survival and using your senses to define reality, the more you experience separation from a new future. I sitting here talking to you have a future, and I have a separation of time between me and it. That's what he's talking about. We all do. We live that in this life. What these processes have in common is that they require time, which you experience as linear. That's okay. I'm not saying anything new to anybody here. I'm just introducing you to the subject. Linear time. I had an image of time where the past is off my left shoulder and my future is off my right shoulder. And just how do I connect this? How do I build a future self that's way over there? We're waiting for something or someone outside of us. We're trying to build a future in a consciousness of separation. All this stuff, you guys have been with this work long enough. You know all this. I'm just kind of building the introduction as this chapter does. When something doesn't happen, it seems to take a long time. We use that expression. If Newtonian law are an outward expression of physical material laws of space-time, a dimension where there's more space than time, we could say, in a sense, that quantum laws are the inverse. The quantum is an inward expression of the law of nature, an invisible field of information energy that unifies everything material, unifies it in the sense that everything is entrained in the here and the now. I know when I first started this work, the idea that everything is in the here and now just left me just like, say, what? I'm looking at a galaxy and a solar system, galaxy, and a universe with billions of galaxies, with billions of stars. And here is a statement that says, everything is here and now. How is that even worth holding a thought on? Moving from the world of senses to the world beyond senses. It's when you begin to understand the nature of the frequencies and the energies of the quantum. As we move from a narrow focus to an open focus and begin to surrender all aspects of self, we move away from the external world of people, things, to-do list, to an inner world of vibration, energy, and consciousness. When you start moving away from the concepts of this life, and you just practice going open focus, not nailing down any particular ideas, just like going into a dark room where you can't see or smell anything, and just see what your mind does in that open, undefined environment. That is like the entry door of the experience, because your mind will first try to define it with consciousness that you know, your past, all the events of your yesterdays, your education. But what we're doing here is beyond all of that. The act of eliminating those things causes us to move to alpha and theta brainwaves patterns, and we connect with the autonomic nervous system. Just attempting to do this, put your head up just a little bit, move your consciousness back, and become aware over your left and right shoulder. Become aware of space. Gently breathe, hold, exhale, hold. Just do it gently so that your whole system slows down, and hold in your intent to be aware of this space about you. Now, you can't convince me that you can't do this, because I've never met a person who didn't have a sense of space about them. Walk up to somebody and get too close and watch them respond. Everybody has a certain amount of space about them. What we're doing is becoming sensitive to a greater space. So it's there already. We're just practicing to become more sensitive to it. Now that you're becoming at least idea-wise aware of it, quantum laws, however, deal with the unpredictable and the unseen, the world of energy, waves, frequencies. Governing this world is an unseen constant, a single field of information called the unified field. And there's the first hint. It is a single field of energy and frequency. Non-locale is the expression Dr. Joe uses, which means there is nothing in that field that is local to any place, anywhere, anywhen. It is all meshed like a soup, like an interconnected field. So no matter where you are in this physical creation, when you tune into that field, you are in the same place. How's that for a weird statement? In the quantum or unified field, there is no separation between 2 points of consciousness. It is the domain of oneness or unity consciousness. Remember, it's called a unified field. Whereas in our three-dimensional space, everything is separate. In the quantum space, everything is present. Because time is infinite in this time-space reality, as we move through time is an experience of spaces. So what the goal is in working on time-space is, when you go back in your meditation in an alpha wave, put it all away. We talked about a little bit about surrender this week in my chats. Why surrender? Why that word? Because you're giving up the things that your consciousness is holding on to. It's not about being defeated. That was the definition I had a hard time with. It's letting go so that you're out of the habit of holding that list. You know anybody that constantly has a list in their head? They get this. You let go of that list and you let your consciousness put this all busyness away. Your CEO is what Dr. Joe calls the operating systems of your frontal cortex. He sits down, and when you get it right, it's amazing. The amazing sensation to me is that the gate to number 8 just swings open. There's so much effort. There was a lot of effort in me trying to get into that gate 8, 8th energy center when I was first doing this work. I didn't understand. I just going through all kind of hoops until I learned separation, learned surrender and worthiness. And I go back and it's like the angels, instead of holding it closed, they're holding it open for me. Oh, welcome home, Ray. You put it all away, just have peace, and you're invited in. It's just the most amazing sensation when you get it right. And you move into the alpha theta brainwaves, and you don't have to be working on any big project. You are so loved that if you just go in to visit that space, put this away and practice nothingness. That's a big part of what this chapter is about. Learning how to be time space, learning how to move into that gentle alpha theta wave brain set without any intention. Just go there. In the world of time space, as we become aware of an increase or decrease of the speed or frequency of vibration of energy, we can go from one space to another space, from one dimension to another dimension. How can we do that? Simply by tuning the dial of our consciousness. And the amazing thing that I've discovered is that you don't need to know how that happens. The simple metaphor I use to get me to accept this is I don't know how I digest my food. I do the act of putting it in, and my body does the rest. It's a little bit like that. Once you get into that alpha theta wave and you're into that space where you're aware, where you're consciously aware of your environment, which means you're not busy with your senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, all that stuff. You're just sensing. And then you might even practice by enlarging your senses. Sometimes you get conversations of it's boring, I'm just here. Well, try making it bigger, see if it's still boring. This is a process I went through. I did it. Okay, here I am, I sense my space. And then my angel goes, oh, dummy, can you sense the birds in the bushes outside? It never occurred to me. Says, sense your space. And so I started practicing how big can I make my space that I'm sensing in my space of space. You with me? And so, but the process is the same. First, I have to find my present moment here, now. Let go of my day and be now. Move into awareness and let my body and heart, my mind and my heart move into alpha theta brainwaves. And then just rest there a minute and feel what I can feel. Because remember, feeling is not the goal. Feeling is your body responding to the energy that it's receiving. Sometimes it's subtle and gentle, but your body will respond. Okay? You think I'm kidding? You ever have somebody walk up to you that just creeps you out? I was like, I don't know who the hell you are, but I'm getting away. You can feel your space. You really can. This is a human thing. We're just taking it a little bit bigger. We're just taking it a little bit more tuning. We're just doing it consciously, creatively, deliberately making it bigger so we can use it as tools to create our life. Our life has been designed by others for their purpose. From religion to politics to pharmaceuticals and industry. Our culture is designed for their purpose, not for our love, not for our hopes, not for our dreams, not for our hearts. This, we're learning to tune into energies so that we can consciously, creatively, deliberately find what makes our hearts sing and tune to it out of the future so that our life will slowly go in that direction. That's what we're talking about here in little ways. Page 232. In space time, that's that stuff where our body lives. You experience the environment with your body, your senses. Time appears linear because we're separate, move from here to here. However, you experience this realm with your awareness as a consciousness, where I missed my statement here, as well as the past and the future. In time, space, however, you experience this realm with your awareness as a consciousness, not as a body with senses. This realm exists beyond your senses. You access this domain when you are totally in the present moment. The present moment is the gate. That's why it's chapter 2 in this book, because everything else in this book follows you having some consciousness of present moment, that it is a goal to achieve every time. I have times I sit down and meditate and I'm like this, like, okay, I close my eyes and then like, what a waste. It's just, I can't get out of my seat, I still do, you know, but I understand now. Before I just get all kind of crazy trying to figure out what's going on. Now I said, okay, I'm just not letting go. I don't know why I'm not, but I'm not. And so I just come back later and I feel better. And then I have a nice little experience getting into alpha, theta, and resting in that present moment for a while. When I say that as as you move through time, you experience space, I mean all possible dimensions and all possible realities. We could say then that in this time space reality, all possible spaces or all possible dimensions exist in infinite time. This is the unified field. That is why everything is now, because it's a unified field. Kind of hard to get your head around, isn't it? In the quantum field, there is no separation of past or future because everything that is exists in the eternal now or the eternal present moment. If everything that is exists unified or connected in the quantum field, then its infinite frequencies contained information about everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, and every time. It made sense to me when I started doing this that I could, if I learned and practiced, tune into others because they're all little lights on the hill in the darkness. I just got to find their light. It has taken me a long time to rationalize, because that's all it was me having a hard time accepting what I was reading, that a moment in time is every bit as much a frequency and energy, a vibration. Same thing. It's a matter of me developing the skill of my consciousness to understand time. Now, what is it we're working toward in this conversation about time? We'll get there. Over on page 234, there's a little discussion on the model for an atom. And it's like, why do we care about that? Well, there's a little twist of logic with this. The atom, when I was a kid, looked like a solar system with planets circling the nucleus. Well, they find now that that's not it at all. There is a central nucleus, but the electrons have fields of probability, and they no longer claim a locale to the electron like an orbiting planet. They call it fields of possibility, and they don't materialize until someone puts attention in that field at a point. Now, why is that part of this conversation? Because as you learn to put your attention on that point of time, that possibility, that probability begins to, how could I say that? Condensate and present itself in your life. Wow. That means by you doing this in the ultimate form, out of the infinite possibility, that point of energy starts condensating, cooling, and will eventually present itself to some degree in your life. You, to some degree, actually become a creator in your life. This isn't Dr. Joe speaking. This is hard quantum science speaking. Wow. The act of observation by the observer that it appears. It's called the observer effect. You can observer effect your future into your present moment. That's where we're going with this crazy conversation. That is just, this is, of all the stuff that Dr. Joe's books, this is the chapter that just sets me back. And yet, when it's discussed, I go, yeah, I got that, I got that, I got that. But the program in me just screams, how is this possible? And yet, there it is. The observer effect. When we get this right and we learn to tune in time by the quantum laws of observer effect, we draw to us that possible present moment. Am I the only one who thinks that is just like, wow, that's quantum science? We are becoming less aware of the material realm and more aware of the immaterial realm. As you do this, the residual of your ego mind will kind of hang in there. But as you get more and more confident in this, as you get more and more familiar in this, so that you just do it, you'll go deeper and deeper, and it will be like a walk in the park eventually. But it takes a while to get your ego mind to be familiar enough to go, okay, here she goes. Okay, I know, I'll just take a break and let her go wandering away. Yeah, it's kind of like that. At least it feels a little bit like that to me because sometimes I go in that space and I get this, no, we got things to talk about today. And I go, come on, no, no, no. And until I put away whatever priority my ego mind got a hold of, I'm stuck. Now, it's not all that ugly stuff that I've mentioned I had before. It's just daily stuff, you know. When we close our eyes in meditation, I'm on page 235 now. When we close our eyes in meditation and open our focus to the infinite space, this is exactly what we're doing. We are putting more of our attention on energy, space, and information and possibility rather on matter. We are becoming less aware of the material realm and more aware of the immaterial realm. We are investing our energy into the unpredictable and unknown, disinvesting our attention and energy from the predictable and known. Each time we do this is that practice I just mentioned, we develop a deeper understanding of what the unified field is. It's experiential. We can talk about this, but until you decide, I am deliberately going to start spending some time each day doing nothing else but sitting and practicing going into that field. You have other meditation things. I have coherence healings that I participate with. I have projects I have work on my own future self I'm drawing. I have issues in me I'm looking for questions with. We all have little projects like that we do in our head. But sometimes I just sit and I go into that darkness and I wait and I see if I can expand out to the size of my yard. Can I sense the birds and the squirrels that run in the trees of my yard? Can I sense what's going on with my lovely wife in another room? Can I sit here and honestly feel the life about me? Sometimes I lock it in. It's cool. Sometimes I don't. Why is that a cool skill? Because I am practicing, I am becoming familiar with the field of energy and frequency deliberately and consciously. With that, the menu of what I choose to do with this skill is open. I can tune to a person. I can tune to a place. I'm practicing the different places about my yard and house. And I am learning to tune to time. How is this possible? Well, it's all energy, vibration, and frequency. There is nothing else. So once you get familiar with one, just keep relaxing, exploring, and become familiar with another. Over on page 235 and 236 and 237, there's a table of stuff that I'm just going to touch on. There's space-time is the dimension of the universe, and there's time-space, which is the consciousness. One is space-time is your body, time-space is nobody. One is matter, and the other is energy. It's not that one does not exist. Both are part of the expression of the unified field. Then what is the difference? It's a little equation that most of us in our society knows quite well. We'll get to it in just a moment. Because we experience the material universe with our senses provide us with information that occurs as patterns in our brain. That's how we survive physically. If our three-dimensional world is a dimension of matter where there's more space than time, the quantum world is a dimension of antimatter. Space-time is body. time, space is nobody. Who or what are we, really? If we are not our body, what are we? Is the first question we need to settle. Now, even if we academically talk about it, we are deeply programmed into our life as being this expression. I'm not so idealistic that I think I could say something to you that you'll go, oh, and your whole world changes that fast. No. But Dr. Joe has an interesting way of saying things that can get into your head and make you consider what you are. First of all, let's go back a couple paragraphs. There is only the unified field. Then what is this? This is an expression of the unified field. I mean, the unified field is matter. There's a reason they call it the unified field. There is only the unified field. So what's this conflict? But instead of light, information, and frequency, we have to cross a bridge. That bridge is the speed of light. When we become pure consciousness, when Einstein introduced the equation E equals mc squared in his theory of special relativity, for the first time in history, science, he demonstrated a mathematical standpoint that energy and matter are related. I think most people don't get the energy and matter relationship. So I come up with another explanation. I'm not correct in Einstein. I'm just explaining it in a little different way. E equals mc squared. That means energy equals matter sped up multiplied times by the speed of light squared or vibration squared. See, okay. So energy equals matter sped up. A little bit of algebra. Now you've got matter equals energy divided by c squared. Matter equals energy slowed down. Energy equals matter sped up. Matter equals energy slowed down. So energy and matter are the same stuff, only separated by vibration or the rate of vibration. Very interesting. Now you can see the unified field. There is only the unified field. It is our perceptions, because we have been programmed by this body survival to only see the slower frequencies. As we play with this space within space, we start sensing and exploring the higher frequencies. Therefore, the fourth dimension is time. Time is the nexus that connects the three-dimensional world to the fifth-dimensional world and beyond. Once something is traveling faster than the speed of light, there is no time, no separation. There is no separation or time because there is no matter anymore. Without matter, there's no time because without matter, there's no separation. Because the two particles vanish at exactly the same point. Okay, that is that little theory of take two identical particles, separate them. So that's the challenge that we're having here in our discussion. Thus, as you surrender as an awareness, as you move in to the space, he says, and you surrender what you normally hold on to, you just remember, you just let go of it. You're not being defeated. Speaking about myself there, you're just letting go of it. How many times we talked about Forgiveness is just let go of it. You let go of it, and now you're free to feel the space. The, the programs of your mind are relaxed, and you move into alpha theta waves, and your heart slows down, your breathing gets refreshed, and you become aware of the energy fields about you. Those energy fields are a no thing experience. They're fields of energy. From that point, all that the next step for you to do is get confident in that familiar space to practice tuning to something and let your consciousness seek it and find it for you. There are people who can find things. They've got this inner tuning they've developed, and you say, "I've lost my watch." And they go, they say, "Oh yeah, it's that direction." They can find them. This is a skill you can actually do as a hypnotic demonstration. It's so normal to the human experience, but it's been tuned, programmed out of us that 3 out of 4 people practicing hypnosis can learn to do this while in hypnosis. Why? Because they get out of their analytical mind that says they can't. And the practitioner, the person doing it to the person, talks them into the alpha theta waves and helps them tune into the space, helps them find the frequency of what they're looking for, and they can go over and point to it. It's over there somewhere. 3 out of 4 people. I've seen it. It's cool as beans. You can do this. It's a matter of practicing, going into the space, letting yourself go into the alpha theta waves, and keeping your awareness on the space about you, undefined, and just let the experience come to you and feel that experience. Let your body respond to that experience. Because nothing physical exists there. You, as a consciousness, becomes less separate from the consciousness of the unified field. As you do this, you'll become more and more in tune to that unified field. We're talking about the, with capital letters, unified field, where everything is connected. Knowledge, other consciousnesses that you can tune to and give meditation to for healings, lost items, future and past events. It's all there. You ever heard of the Akashic records? This is where you find it. This is where you learn to consciously, deliberately cross that barrier from the stress frequencies of beta and consciously just let it go. It's a practice so that your body and your mind get comfortable with doing it, and so that you can do it. And you just fall into it and become aware of your space. Okay. I think that's a moment we could take a little conversation with if somebody would like to say something before I go to the next part of this chapter. Anybody got a little bit they want to talk about what we've talked about just now? The space about you that holds everything in space, and there is no thing, there is no time or space or object that is not intimately an aspect of the unified field. We're all that. Anybody like to say anything about that? No? Okay, I'll continue. It's kind of a subject that leaves the mind going, what do I do with that? I know.
Ray,
Yes,
hi, how are you?
I'm tripping out on this crazy subject.
But amazing. As you said, sometimes it's hard like to be able like to go into the darkness. And I suppose as you said, it's normal. But sometimes I'm able like to fly like in the sky or the universe, and I see myself as a purple or pink light going through the stars, and in a dark sky. So is this normal? I mean, this is what I should be seeing?
I think that's pretty close to normal, yes. As you mature in it, that wasn't derogatory for anything, but as you mature in it and it becomes more and more familiar, then you will do things more consciously, creatively, deliberately. Now, as someone who's kind of new and wandering in this energy field, it's kind of fanciful, fantasy type. But that's only because you're a child in it. Okay. Um, so, but as you do it, just as a child matures in his in their work, you will mature in your work. But very much so, I loved how you described that. That experience of sensing flying, I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I've had a few of those, and I just anxious to try again. And sometimes I get them again, and sometimes, okay, that was all I get. It's like I think the angels tease us sometimes. They give us experiences to show what's possible, and they
Mhm.
just give them to us. And then he says, "Okay, now that you know it's possible, go figure out how you do it."
Okay. Now, I wonder, I mean, how long should I stay in that meditation momentum?
Well, it depends on if you got bills that need to be paid or not. I mean, just,
I sure do.
well, that
But
kind of defines
sometimes,
space, don't it?
so I better stay up there.
Yeah. So get what you can, and then deal with with this physical life too. And and the project is to be able to do them both. Because as you do them both, you'll start creating fun things in this physical life, which can be very burdensome. And it can be there can be fun things with this, but just it's it's just human to fall back into this material life again. That's just part of it. But we're here to have to learn to create something extra for our life.
Okay, so in that moment, should I start like to feeling what I want to feel in the present moment? Like
Don't
if I.
do it from your head. Do it from your heart.
Okay.
This is a heart-centered event. If you start doing it from your heart, from your head, it will be just a very casual thing, and pretty soon you're analyzing it and giving instructions and telling it what to do. And
Oh,
you would have defeated it. The trick is to do it out of your heart love. Wouldn't that, just let the child in you play in your heart and let that happen.
okay. So
It,
I better like kind of be there, relax, not even thinking, so my heart can open and starts playing.
yeah. I like the
Yes.
word attentive. When you think, it sounds like you're putting analytical work on it. I'm thinking about it. No, you want to be attentive so that you will remember.
Okay. All right.
And it's
Thanks.
just it's a tricky head job, but you are right. You got one foot in the kingdom. You're doing great.
I need to keep practicing. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah, that's a beautiful attitude. I just keep doing it, get more and more familiar with it, let myself mature in it instead of going in and saying, "Wow, I know the first time I fell through the door, I jumped out like as if I had touched a hot pan. It startled the tar out of me because I was working, 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 and it's like the door fell open and I fell in and I went, "Whoa!" And I couldn't even resist. I was back in my analytical mind before. I went, Oh man, I spent 2 weeks pushing that and I jumped out first experience. So yeah, so so for me it took a little bit of becoming familiar with it so my ego mind didn't panic at the new experience.
And you at the same time do the breath.
The breath is a tool to bring your body energy into your center. Now, instead of doing the meditations of the 3 energy centers and stuff like that, of all the energy centers, I can do this because I've done this many times by putting my head back and gently breathing into my nose and feeling good energy come in, hold slowly, and then slowly letting out the old energy. And I just have this wave, good energy, old energy. And the program is there now. And I just relax with it and I can go into alpha theta waves. I'm a very boring person to watch. I'm not huffing and puffing and doing anything. I just got I've been with groups that are just breathing and they got their breathing going. And I sit there and go, so
Okay. I get there quite easily.
yeah, all of those things are right for the individual. I've just kind of mellowed into this and
Mhm.
I'm familiar with this, and being familiar is my pathway.
Okay. 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 Thanks.
Thank you. Kathleen, I see your hand. Thank you for being patient.
Hey, yeah. Oh, no, that was great. That sounds fantastic, Gabriella. Yeah, now I have to remember though how you worded it. Then I'll ask my question. Maybe you could help me remember. You were talking about density, matter, vibration. Like were you saying something about the faster the vibration? Do you remember what you
E
said?
equals mc squared, m
Yes.
equals E divided by C. It's just an algebra equation. You switch the E and the M so that E equals matter times C squared. That means matter accelerated in frequency. You turn it around, matter equals E divided by C squared. That means matter equals energy lowered in frequency, which means matter and energy are the same stuff of the universe, separated only by frequency.
Wow. Frequency. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I was
And that
just
explains the unified field. There is only energy and frequency. It's separated only by frequency.
that
Thus,
is that I
thus
can
tuning is the art.
that I can grab onto. So when somebody has traumas kind of stuck, and a lot of times this work will end up with people on the floor shaking, releasing the energy that got trapped. I would imagine that has to do with becoming less dense because you're releasing some of the, or at least being able to access the less dense realms. I don't know if that's true, but I love that E equals MC squared. That
Yeah,
that gives me something to grab onto to understand this better.
yeah, it's solid stuff. I mean, you can't, it's simple and it's solid. Equals MC means equal, energy equals mass accelerated, mass equals energy slowed down, decelerated. They're the same substance, separated only by frequency. That explains the unified field. There is nothing but frequency and energy. And there's infinite frequencies, infinite energies. And so, but everything is the same stuff, just frequency. And thus the importance of the art of tuning. Because if everything is frequency, it's like a dial on a radio. All you have to do is tune to it and draw it to you. With your heart magnetic field, your mind's the tuner, and your heart creates that field. You draw to what you tune. And since you are an expression a point of expression of the divine, you tune to that point in frequency, you draw to it. In the military, one of the things I learned, and we knew, don't be around someone who is in fear.
Oh.
You don't want to be around people like that. And sometimes they can't help it. It's just something got into their head and they're just freaking out. And you said, okay, you go freak out over there. I'm going to go over here. Because it's just people draw to it. It's like people who are afraid of falling cannot walk across an 8-inch plank. 8-inch wide. They're so afraid of falling, they can't do it. It's like their fear pulls them over. That same principle works when you are in love with something you've tuned to in your future self. Same thing. You have a frequency in your head that's tuned in, and your heart's radiating that frequency, and it is drawing that to you.
Thank you. This is really good.
And it works because there is only the unified field. Everything else is an illusion to our physical senses. Wow, Newton would have a fit over that. With Newton's law of motions and stuff like that. The unified field becoming everybody. We call this love or wholeness because there is no longer any division or separation. It is where positive and negative join, where male and female unite, where past and future merge, where good and bad no longer exist. As you continue up the scale away from matter and separation, you continue to experience greater and greater degrees of wholeness. As you learn to get more and more in tune to the space, the more you do that, the more you've tuned out the physical sense, the lower frequencies, and you, as the energy being that is you, remember, I am an energy being. The more you identify with that, this tunes out, and you become a creator of energy. This is the 0 point field. There is no here, no there. It's only here and now. Absolutely the most bizarre chapter in the 3 books, but I love it. We could call this the mind of God. Why? Well, unity consciousness, source energy, or whatever nomenclature you want to use to define the self-organizing principle of the universe. This is the place where all potentials, possibilities exist as a thought. The ultimate source of loving intelligence and the intelligent love that is observing all of this physical reality into form. Remember the atomic theory of the observer effect? Everything is a potential until you observe it. Now they're applying this on a universal, unified field principle. As you observe it, it becomes your life. You ever heard anybody say you create your life? Yes. Now we know the principle behind that incredible expression. But that's right. You are living a default life given you by a society that has their interest, not yours. They don't know you enough to have your interest. You have to find your heart, tune into your heart, and let go of the things that you've been programmed to hold on to, and practice becoming conscious of the space. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Even Einstein says the particle does not create the wave. The wave defines the particle. You are not a body with the field. You are an energy being expressing in a body, expressing your life. It's the 0 point field made of possibilities of thought, because our thoughts and possibilities that is slowing its frequency down, creating order and form. As we tune into that, it condensates like water on the side of a glass vase. The water is in the ether, and as the energy of the water cools, it condensates and forms and becomes physical. This is a model for what I'm talking about. As you tune to it, your physical, your energy point that you concentrate, put your energy on, it condensates in the universe and begins to make physical form in little ways at first, and then over time it presents itself. Wild. The unified field is a self-organizing intelligence that is always observing the material world into order and form. The more you can surrender to it, move closer to it, and become one with it, the less separation and lack you will feel, and thus the more wholeness and oneness you experience. Now, there's a couple tricky parts to that sentence that I want to stress. The more you can surrender to it, that surrender is giving over this program of I am this. I am my stressed mind. I am the worker. I am this husband. I am this. The more you can surrender that and just be the energy being and become one with it, because this matter doesn't tune into the unified field. That's why we have this sense of separation. The less separation you feel. So that's how come so many religions teach that the divine is over there, because we are identified as our body and thus separate. As we learn to tune into this field and identify with the energy that is us, we lose that separation, and we are then melded, involved into that oneness. The first step to experiencing the unified field is to become aware of it, because if you're not aware of it, it doesn't exist to you. How do you become aware of the unified field? Just like we've been talking about. You take a little practice like we did today. I like nice slow breaths into my heart. I imagine I'm drawing energy in, feeling my heart energize up, feeling the light of love grow in it, willing the energy of love to grow in it, allowing gratitude to expand in me and receiving. And I let my heart, my mind go into alpha theta, and I don't work at anything. I rest in the space and I sense what I can sense. What is it I feel today? I wonder, WONDER. I wonder if I can make my space bigger. Can I sense my bushes about my yard? Are there birds in my bushes? I wonder, not work, just wonder and try to feel the energy in space, of space. And I just let go of this. That's what this chapter is about, learning to consciously, deliberately, creatively allow our consciousness to learn to be their true nature, and that's an energy field. That is a point of expression of the unified field. That is the connection of consciousness to all consciousness. Including your future, since consciousness is awareness. Remember, I said awareness is the goal? Consciousness is awareness, and awareness is paying attention. The first step to experiencing the unified field is to become more aware of it because you're not aware of it now. Thus, the more you pay attention to the field, the more you will become aware of it. The more you deliberately go into that alpha theta and become attentive to the space about you, exercising that sense so that you can learn to feel it. If you can do this, if you can get out of the way and linger as a consciousness or an awareness in this field, you can keep surrendering to this intelligent love. Let go of this struggle of this life to this intelligent love. If you learn the magic of that, it will change your world. Surrender to this universe, this illusion, these programs. It's like a color trying to talk to a blind man. It's experiential. I'm leading you to it. I'm telling you where to go to get it. But you have to practice going into that place of space and wandering, WONDER, and waiting for your heart to respond and to feel it. And just let it happen. And your thoughts and producing the same frequency equal to the matter and parties review. Okay, that's part of an old note. If you are thinking about somebody, someone, something at some place in some time, you are not getting beyond your identity, which has been shaped by totality of your past experience. You got to, for what we're doing here, you got to just tune all that stuff out. It makes sense then that to heal your body, you're going to have to get beyond your body. As long as you're struggling like this, your body is in survival mode and your energies are doing this. You've got to let go of this fight so that your body energies can come in and your autonomic nervous system can start taking over. It knows how to heal. Your body wants to heal. But we have programs in us from the time we were a child telling us we can't heal ourselves. We need a doctor. We need a pill. It takes practice, getting familiar with this little exercise for us to let go of our bodies. We are not our bodies. Learning what you are is every bit as important in this work as learning who you are. If you get up in the morning and say, this is what I am and I got to do this, you have just boxed yourself in. It's a mind trip to carry both these throughout your day. I understand that. I've practiced it. But that gives you a tool to make you sensitive to things that you otherwise are turned off to. You ever have those, you're in a meeting and you just get a creative solution? Just out of the blue, you go, I know this is what the rule says. Well, what do you think if we just kind of change this and this? We would get a completely different effect out of what we're doing. And they sit back and look at you like, where'd that come from? I don't know, I was just looking at it. You have a teacher in you that wants to help you moment by moment. We've, by our society, have turned it off. This little practice will help you tune into that teacher. I don't know, I'm a mechanical engineer. I know this and this. Fine. Keep it turned off. The guy next to you will get the raise. Because he'll be the ones with the creative ideas that come out of nowhere. I'm a writer. Oh my goodness, you need this. I'm an artist. Any of the crafts. This will help you. And you'll want to create a new unexpected event in your lifetime. And you'll have to stop unconsciously anticipating the same predicament. Once you start practicing this, you'll stop expecting normal. It's okay for normal. Normal is how things done, you know. But this allows for the unnormal, the unexpected to happen. Those words called serendipity just come to you. There is no longer wanting, trying, wishing, forcing, predicting, fighting, or hoping. After all, hope is a beggar. You talk to me on the telephone and you say, I'm hoping to get healed. I'll go, oh, that's sorry. I'm too bad. That's too bad. They go, what do you mean? I said, hope is a beggar, just who are you hoping to? What are you hoping for? Well, just don't hope, do. When you create from a state of wholeness, there are only knowing and observing. This is the key to manifesting reality, being connected, not separate. When Dr. Joe says this is the key, you should mark that. When you create from a state of wholeness, there are only knowing and observing. This is the key to manifesting. That's on page 247. But there is so much to that little statement. When you create from a state of wholeness, where does that wholeness come from? That wholeness comes from the present moment. That present moment comes from you turning in and letting go of your survival mind and tuning in and giving and surrendering over to that oneness and letting that oneness change you and your purpose in your life. When you're in survival, your purpose is to survive. When you're in wholeness, your purpose is to love and to share and to have a greater life than your own. You, as a consciousness, are in the realm of oneness. And because there is no separation, time is eternal. So I'm just in so many years, this body passes away. But you forget already, you are not your body. For you, time is eternal. It makes the whole equation shift. In fact, there is nothing to try to create because it's already exists as thought in the realm of all thoughts. All you have to do is to become aware of it, to observe it, and into being by experiencing it. Let me read. I didn't read that very good. Let me do it again. All you have to do is to become aware of it and observe it into being by experiencing it. How do you do that? The art of intention and tuning. Remember, all is energy, frequency, and vibration. No such thing as anything. Energy is matter, matter is energy, separated only by frequency. Frequency is tunable. That's why radios have dials, because it has a spectrum of frequencies and you tune to it. Frequencies are tunable. You have the gift, the talent, the ability to tune. Once you let go of this fixed dial that our society has made us into, when you let go of that and give over this fixture, you can tune. You as a consciousness are the realm of oneness. You as a consciousness are in the realm of oneness. And because there is no separation, time is eternal. You are energy, frequency, vibration, part of the oneness, part of the unified field. In fact, there is nothing to try to create because it's all there. You just tune to it and charge up your heart and draw it to you, because everything you draw to it is just going to be energy, frequency, and vibration. In the work I do around the world, this is Dr. Joe, I have labored for many years teaching our students how to get beyond themselves. I now know the first step in this process is for them to master their body, get beyond the connections to their external environment, and transcend time. When they accomplish that, they find themselves on the precipice of experiencing the unified field. There it is. That is the direction, direct from Dr. Joe. Let's focus on this a little bit. I now know the first step in this process is for them to master their body, get beyond the conditions in their external environment, and transcend time. How do you do that? You move, you go into space, you let your body fall into alpha, theta waves, and you let go. Surrender this off and let it go and disconnect in your consciousness. And that's where you begin. And it takes practice. And some days you're not going to be able to do it. I guess I'm speaking about me that time. Some days I just can't do it. It's just like my head just won't let me out. I feel like the little kid in the corner. No, I ain't going to do it today. God, what do you mean you're not going to do it? No. Just, okay, I go have a cup of coffee and come back later in the day and try again. You know, but I've learned I can do this because I've learned the pathway. It's familiar enough in me that I don't have to spend a half an hour breathing to get myself to let go. I used to. Remember in places, you might have seen in conferences, people go into alpha in like 9 seconds, 10 seconds. That's crazy. How do they do that? Because I'm huffing and puffing, doing my energy center work, trying to get my head to do it. Well, over time, it became familiar enough to me that my body now knows that when I sit down, put my head back, and do the slow breath, my consciousness just seems to fall back and I move into alpha. Then I'll wait a little bit longer. And my whole body just kind of goes, oh. No, I can't do it in 10 seconds, but I can do it in a minute or two. If learning means making new synaptic connections, the more you learn about something, the more you can appreciate it, become aware of it, and experience it, because now you are engaged with a new set of neural networks. It is a neural network thing that you practice. This isn't just abstract thinking. Please don't make this some philosophical course and put the book on the shelf. This is something you have to do to get the neural networks in your mind, to get your body familiar with the experience, so that your body mind, which is a tenacious booger to change, so that your body mind will let go of its past and get into this new definition of you. You can change that definition of you by doing this, by putting more and more energy on this light that is you. You can change the expression of your DNA and be healthier than you can imagine you could possibly be. I'm 76 years old. I'm doing pretty good. It is in the act of learning that you further change and enrich your experience. And you learn by doing. Have you ever met a musician that didn't pick up an instrument? It's just like, what doesn't make sense? You got to do it. We could say then that they just don't know what to look for to truly enjoy the experience. I don't meditate. That's just okay. I understand. And you never will. Just why that? Because you won't do the work. Don't. It's just the same is true when it comes to the unified field. If you're not aware of it, then it does not exist to you. You don't know what it feels like. It's like a blind man trying to describe the color blue to a blind man. You can love that blind man just as much as you could love anybody, but he cannot learn what the color blue is until he can see. I can talk about this and share all my silly anecdotes and plead with you. Do it. Wander into that quiet time for a while and let the quietness touch you so that you can feel something, a little bit of gratitude raise on you, a little bit of love just expand like a light that grew a little bit brighter and small and goes, oh, I'm loving a little bit. Not loving this or that, just loving. The more you can pay attention to it with your awareness and experience it more deeply, and it should change you. Why does it change you? Because it redefines this light that you are. I am an energy being. When you do this more and more and more, it will give you a different definition of I am. When you say I'm an energy being, the meaning to you will grow. That's how it works. The same is true for the unified field. The more you become aware of it, the more it will exist in your reality. Can you imagine having a tunable relationship to the eternal unified field? The thought just, it's like saying, I'm used to swimming in the ocean. There's monsters in the ocean. I like going on a boat in the ocean, but there's fish in the ocean bigger than the boat I go on. Like, no, I think I'll stay in the boat. Thank you very much. But it's to that perspective or more. When you place your attention and awareness on your pain, it expands. The same thing also happens with the unified field. When you place your attention on it and become more aware of it, it expands in you. All you have to do is spend time with it and become more and more familiar with it. And it will grow. The awareness of it in you, the experience of it in you grows. That's how the experience works. Your experience of it will literally cause you to become it. Now, that's a double statement. That's a principle statement. As you experience it, let me read it again. Your experiencing of it, inner wise, not out here, your inner experience of something causes you to become more like it. Let's start with a dark picture. As you experience violence and ugliness, yeah, we all know that gets in us and we start having energies of violence and ugliness. It's human. That's just how we're made. As we practice tuning in to the unified field, sample it, wander about it, touch it, let it light up our imagination, let it stir up our love, we will become more like it. That's the human experience. And as you unfold deeper and deeper into the unified field, there is more and more for you to explore and experience. Isn't that the coolest? I feel just this is so over the top to talk about. There's so much that we've talked about different subjects and healing and change. And this is so over the top. It's hard to even respond to this conversation. The first thing that happens is that as you place your attention and awareness, putting your attention there and not giving it awareness means you're not trying to get it in your consciousness. You got to have attention and you go into the space. That's why I like the word attentiveness, because that means I want to record in my consciousness what I'm experiencing, but I don't want to go to attention. He uses the word attention. I like to dodge that word and just say attentiveness. Okay. The first thing that happens is as you place your attentiveness and awareness on the unified field, as you move closer to the source and deeper into it, you experience more of it. Wouldn't you just love to experience more depth and intensity of the divine? Would you just think that would be the coolest thing to completely validate the idea of the divine and just get up off the floor and you go, oh my God, this is real. Oh yeah. Can you even imagine having an experience so impactful that that question is gone? I can. Yeah, I can. The second thing that happens is that because experience enriches the brain, each time you interact with this unified field and experience it, your brain physically changes. You ever heard the expression, I just changed my mind? Well, yeah, you have one of these experiences, surrender completely. Let yourself fall into that present moment, completely open up your heart and rest in that unified field for just a little while. Convince the angel standing over you that you're intent on having your moment and you're not just wandering around. And then one day they're going to go, okay, you want it? Here it is. And they will blow your heart open. Wouldn't that be worth the effort? I think so. That experiences enriches your brain. Your brain literally gets new neural pathways. You've heard Dr. Joe talk about experiences. When you forget, the pathways decrease. As you have a moment, they connect. And the more intense the moment, you actually have pathways in your mind because they're so familiar. You can just do this. That's kind of what I'm talking about when I say I have an easy familiarity with going into it now. I have pathways in my head because of the moments I've had. According to the quantum model of reality, since all disease is a lowering and incoherency of frequencies, the moment the body experiences this new coherent, elevated frequency, the energy from that event raises the body's vibration into coherent order. This is how you heal yourself. There's the sentence, page 251. Mark it, put an arrow on the page. This is the conclusion of how you heal yourself. According to the quantum model of reality, since all disease is a lowering and incoherence of frequency, that's the disease. The moment the body experiences this new coherent, elevated frequency, the energy from that event raises the body's vibration into coherence and order, and the body heals. Sometimes it heals really abruptly. You hear about it in Dr. Joe's conferences. People cough up tumors and they're done. Yeah. Sometimes it's real abrupt. Sometimes the energy is a little bit growth comes up. Since the autonomic nervous system's agenda is to create balance and health, the instant we get out of the way, stop analyzing, that's this thing, stop, cease thinking, and fully surrender, that doesn't mean accept defeat. That means let go. This intelligence steps in and creates order. That's your autonomic nervous system taking charge of doing what its most important job is, and that's to heal you. The requirements are easy to say, but we have a lifetime of programs teaching us otherwise. The very same coherent energy raises the frequency of matter. It's like changing the frequency of a static field radio station to one that's carrying clear frequency. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. As the body's frequency and vibration lowers, the health energy required is diminished and the body gets sick. And there's an infinite number of ways for this body to be sick. As you raise that energy, the body gets healthy. Crazy, but it's true. Sometimes you see it in Dr. Joe's conference abruptly. I mean, just like people are screaming and then they just get up and run and they're just like, what's she doing? Says she couldn't get out of a chair yesterday. Now she's running up and down the aisle, screaming her head off. I love it. The third thing that happens as you move closer toward the unified field is that you begin to hear or experience knowledge and information differently. You will start hearing your teachers inform you, encourage you, stir your heart, move you in ways that are beneficial to you. They are not new to you. They have always been with you, prodding you, coaching you, listening, trying to. It's just that we haven't been tuned enough to hear them. As we tune in, their silent, their quiet voices will begin to be heard. And you'll love them deeply. They'll touch your heart. Oh my goodness, it's the sweetest love affair you'll have once you learn to do this. If on a consistent basis you can make this journey all the way to the source and connect with it, the moment you truly interact with it, you will begin to behave more like it. You'll become more like your Father. Loving, creating, healing, and your physical life will just work itself out. You realize that which you have been seeking is seeking you. Your heart is driving you seeking. Once you get this active in your life, you'll find that energy and that infinite potential has been looking for you to get tuned and aligned with it. And you'll meet it somewhere along the way. On page 252 and 253, there's a list here of disciplines that you can learn. I'm getting done here, and God, I thought this chapter would have all kind of crazy conversations, and no one's talking to me. The last part is just a short section to discuss the meditation, space, time, space. That's on sale at drjoedispenza.com shop. It's one of my, and I went to that meditation many times when I was really learning and working with this chapter. It is a changer. But so if you do this properly, you won't be using any of your senses because you're beyond your senses. You'll simply be awareness. That's the goal, the lesson of this chapter of time. And the coolest thing that you learn, let me place that, let me retract that. One of the coolest things I like about learning time is that the same skill I use in becoming coherent with someone I love, and I'm tuning in to heal, coherence healing. I use the same skill to get information, think about an event, and practice tuning in to a time. I'm still new at it because I'm not very accurate and confident in it. That's why I say I'm new, even if I've been doing it 10 years. So I'm still kind of new at it, but it's the same. Why is it the same? Because everything is what? Energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's the requirements to tune into it. So you can tune into whatever your heart's desire once you get past the programming of this society that says you can't. So I'm near the end of this chapter. Somebody talk to me. I'm stressing out here thinking, nobody loves me today. No one's talking to me. Kathleen, I see your hand. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was just waiting to get a chance to ask you. You said, I think I got it right. You create your life as you observe it. And that just like is really clicking, like the whole thing about if you're looking at your past, you're telling the same story, you're recreating the same story. If you keep yourself, if you're realizing you're creating as you're observing and you keep looking at your goal and you keep looking at the where you want to go, um, it's just the same thing we're always saying, but it kind of clicked in a cool
Right.
way when you said you create your life as you observe it. I love that.
But what draws it to you is your magnetic heart.
Mm.
That's why fear is so dangerous because fear is an emotional thing, a heart thing. Your head sees danger, your heart sees fear, and it draws to you what you fear. So your head sees your future, your heart loves it and draws it to you.
Where does the unified field come in? I know we're all a part of it. When we stop looking back and start looking at what we want when we're in that field, is that where that comes in? I got a little
Well, it
foggy on.
comes in because first you have to know what you are. As long as you define yourself as this biological element, then this lesson of time will fall flat on your subconscious. The what is important. Now that you understand or even accept the theory, you don't have to be all in, just accept the theory so that you can practice with it. Then, as you go into the space awareness, you begin to accept energy about you because you can feel things that are not defined by stuff. You go in and you can feel energies moving about your consciousness and about your heart. That reinforces the idea that I am not physical, I am an energy being. Where did now that you have a beginning of what you are, who are you? See, if you say you're a child of the divine, but you're a mortal being, what good does it do? Because you're going to be dead in a few years. You know, like the divine really did a job on me. I'm dead meat. right? So what you are is critical to the story. I am an eternal, electrical, luminous, bright, glorious, eternally loved energy being. I am. Who am I? I am a son of the Father. I am a point of expression of the divine itself. And I am heir to the infinite potential. Now that is who I am. That gives me my worthiness statement. Now that I know I am worthy, I can graciously, gratefully, joyously love and receive love.
What were the words you said, Ray? Heir to the, no, just this part, heir, because I'm writing down as fast as I can. Heir to the,
Now that I know what I am, who am I? I am the son of the Father, heir to the throne, inheritor to the infinite potential.
that
I
was it.
know who I am. So I am worthy now to receive from the infinite because I am a son, a point of expression of the divine. So I am worthy. And that
Got it.
worthiness has nothing to do with how klutzy I am in my physical life. Because my physical life is not who I am.
Beautiful. Well, I'm
That
glad we're doing
that
this before I
fits.
go to my first event because this is like really good stuff.
Yeah. See, that fits the unified field. By trying to understand the unified field and saying I am a physical being, a
Oh,
lot of good that does me. Because
oh,
I'm
okay.
dead meat in a few years and my candle gets blown out, and so what? Why all the tears? Now I know what I am. I am a divine expression expressing myself in this body. This body may be perished, but I am an eternal, luminous, electrical energy being, and I am so loved by the divine. I am eternal. That is what I am. Who I am is I am the son of the Father, heir to the throne, inherit to the infinite potential. And I am worthy because I am the Father's son.
Right. This is more philosophical, but like I know your story when you surrendered and then had the profound experience. In light of all this, what do you think we're surrendering? I know it's makes us
The fight.
vibrate at a
I'm
greater
su- I was
frequency.
surrendering my fight. I was
Okay.
willing to let go of my life in that moment. I was just like, if I die here, I'm satisfied. I mean, I was so cognizant of what I was experiencing. If I got to go, this is the way I want to do it. Just,
Yeah. Beautiful.
I know it was extreme. I know, others can't just duplicate what I did because I can't duplicate what I did. It's just like crazy. But the idea is the same. I surrendered my fight, my survival mind
Mm.
to the will, to the way, to the unified field in confidence that I am. Let me ask you a hidden question. I've hid this, buried it in my wording. If I gave away that survival mind, what was left?
Your access to being coming one with the unified field.
My real self was left. I
Mm.
gave up my cloak, my armor. I gave up all that and discovered, look who's hiding behind all this stuff. It's like, ah, I didn't gain something. I was already there.
Oh,
I freed me. Think about it. When you surrender, you're not giving up, you're setting yourself free
Mm.
because you are hiding behind that armor, that cloak, that survival, and don't know it. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I thought I was dying. I did. That was okay. Here I die. And in a blink, I realized, hey, look what's left.
Hmm.
Think about it. Think about the sensation of surrendering your survival and think about what would be left in you if you succeeded in doing that. Oh my God. If you understand that craziness, you would start ripping it off. You're like, hey, I want that. You know, it's just-
Yeah.
okay. Sandra, I see your hand up. Hey, girl.
Hi, Ray. Thank you
Hi,
so
girl.
much for everything that you do. I really, really love it. And thank you for explaining this time and space that sometimes is really hard into. I really like the meditation at the beginning. It was fantastic. I really, really spaced out, and I loved when he's type of mixing the meditation from the courageous heart when you are in that time and space, so it feels really, really deeply into the heart. So I
Yes.
really like it. One of the part that you just mentioned about surrendering, I have never experienced that, but after my surgery or the first day waking up after surgery, I was literally paralyzed from neck down. Like I couldn't move
Wow.
anything. When I woke up, I said, "Oh my God, what I have done." You know what I mean? Like
That's got to be scary. That's got to be
it
so
was
scary.
scary waking up and the only thing that you could move is your eyes because you can move nothing.
Oh,
So I was like, oh my God, immediately I was in tears, but it was a moment of that you said surrendering, that it says, okay, if this is gonna be my life, then it's done. Like I surrendered totally. And then it's for the stages, right? Like I mean the anesthesia was, coming out of this anesthesia and all that. But there is a moment when definitely the surrendering part, like you mentioned, is totally let it go and set it up free of everything that is linking with this 3D dimension, and it just becomes spiritual, like totally spirit. So I experienced amazing things during those 5 days that I was in the hospital, especially about the surrendering things. So yeah, setting
yes.
up yourself free from everything.
Do you remember that sensation of surrendering? What was left of you after you surrendered? Remember, you surrender, but you're still there.
Yeah.
What is the you that's still there? That sense. Okay, I got rid of like, but
It-
somehow,
it's not even physical because I couldn't feel my
correct.
body. I couldn't feel
Yes,
my body. That was the moment that what happened. I just waking up and I don't feel anything. So it just like, and then I only was able to talk, and I said, "Oh, what happened?" There is a moment of really, really fear, like fear kicks
oh
in,
yeah.
because it's so scary to be able to be in a bed when you are totally, you can feel nothing and you can move nothing, but you are conscious.
I can only imagine that. That would be scary.
Then that night for me was totally surrendering in everything. Like I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but I totally surrendered into the process. And the marvelous thing is, yes, that night with all everything kicking in like the morphine and everything, high meds that they give you. And there is a moment when I totally surrendered, and I felt like I was in a no time and space, because I always put 432 frequency, and some of the Dr. Joy Dispenza meditations, and I just space out. You know what I mean? Like you are not even physically here. I was floating It's what it is. Floating, like just floating. Like I was able to see myself from the
Exactly.
roof,
Yeah.
from the thing.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
were consciousness.
Yeah. Yes. That's the point. That's the point. Just consciousness. Yeah. It's a moment that you are part of everything, but nothing at the same time.
Let me ask you something. When you were consciousness, did you have memories?
No, I was in that moment when I was there. I was observing, the
Okay.
observer. I was the observer of everything in that present moment.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go back or go to the future. It just they become the observer in that present moment.
I
And
like it.
yeah, and that is you can see everything and you can feel from everything from you can feel from the perspective of everyone in the frequency, in the energy. It's
That's
just
what tonight's conversation was about. Going
yeah,
into space, becoming free consciousness, and learning the next step is once you can tune, there is, and if, since you can tune, then distance has no marker. We'll just tune to that marker just like you did, and your consciousness is there because
yes.
there is no distance in the unified field.
No. So I mean when I was in the room, the nurse came up when I woke up and then I was with that feeling like fear mode and I was able for a moment to sense the fear that she felt as well, that she didn't know how can I help me or calm me down in that moment. So it was like everything is consciousness that I am able to feel myself, but able to feel in level of energy and consciousness of the other person, like the other people around. It was very, very interesting. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. That's pretty good adventure. Karina, you had your hand up for a little while. Did you want to say something?
Hi everyone. Yeah, I wanted to ask a few questions. Not sure if you guys can hear me because I was in a quiet place when I raised my hand, but now it's kind of more noisy as I am walking. In any case, two things that I was wondering, Gray. The first thing is, don't we always tune into the unified field? It's just point of entry is different depending on our current frequency, I guess.
And you said the second point?
So my second point is I'm wondering because we say that we do it ourselves and then we say angels are doing it for us or with us. Don't we all need a little bit of help getting there?
Man, you're good tonight. That's both of those are spot on, the interesting points. Okay, let's talk about
Thanks.
point.
I'll just mute myself because there's a lot of noise. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
That's that they are really thought stirring. Let's start with the first one. We always tune into the infinite potential because there is nothing else. So what is the difference? What a clever way of saying it. Point of entry. What is it you're tuned to? That could be defined as a point of entry. My old life, I was tuned into anger and chaos. My point of entry into the field was a low energy, chaotic person, overreactive everything. And I got it in return. I have learned through changing my heart, and I like that expression, a different point of entry into the field of potential. That's a good expression. Point of entry. I hadn't thought of it that way, Karina. I think that's good. I wrote that down. That was really good. And then do we do it or do the angels do it? Both. I think is the best answer I can come up with. Let me see if I can qualify it a little bit. I don't know how to separate me now that I've become sensitive and aware enough of the energies about me. I couldn't tell you for sure if they are really separate from me, or they're just different expressions of me, different time points of me interfering. They didn't like that. Helping me with this time frame. I mean, just once you start understanding that time isn't as we understand it, that all time is now, that all points of expression are now, I could say that my future self is interfering with my present self, trying to get my present self to learn something I'm too slow to learn in time. So am I doing it? Well, sort of. I'm just doing it for my future self. I don't know. Remember that story of Dr. Joe when he saw himself in the living room, that he was washing dishes and he saw himself in the front yard? His future self was interfering with his present self, and his present self was. Remember that story? Yeah, there were angels there. There were message spirit beings there, but he was there too, messing with his present self. And I think Dr. Joe sneaks in these principle type teachings. So are we doing it, or angels doing it? I'd say both, because they both have the same divine love meditation involved. Can we tune out our angels? Well, of course we can. I sure did. And even tuning it out, they managed to Al-Kabong me a couple of times trying to get me to change. So yeah, that was an interesting point. But I can see how they are. Some of those points we can say we did this, and some of the points the angels did this, and some of the points we did this to get me on track.
I'm also thinking, sorry, I'm going to take a little bit more time. I'm thinking about all the coherence healings to help this person to get into vibration that is going to allow something else to happen, because they can do it themselves, or they can to a point, but not over this particular point and at this particular moment, right?
Yes.
So the whole coherence healing is to increase vibration, period. That's it.
Say that last part again.
The coherence healing, when people are healing another person, what are they doing? As far as I get from people's experiences, they just send love, and love is just a high vibration. That's it. So they're trying to higher the vibration of this person that can do it by themselves.
Yes. Now, let me add just a little bit of tuning to what you said, because what you said is absolutely correct. Just Dr. Joe has said it numerous times in this book. Illness is a lowering of energy and frequencies. So, and love is is raising those frequencies and energies. So if you can communicate that love into their very beingness, not just abstractly, but can you tune into them where you sense their body and love their body, so that you sense the cells of their body responding to your love energy? Now, what if they have one particular part in their body that was traumatized? It wasn't that they don't love themselves. They were traumatized and their body is fighting for survival. You do the same thing, but a little bit more specifically. I tune in to a particular part of the body and I experience that body like a little boy playing with a toy he loves. Oh, this is the coolest thing in the world. I just love this. Look, oh, this is so, or pardon me as I metaphor a puppy. I just have a thing for puppies. And I just, oh, look at you. You're just so sick. And I love this little part of the body just as much as I would a little puppy that was whining until I get his tail wagging and he's all happy again. Everything you said was correct. I just take it when I'm able, and I'm not always able, to tune into the specific organ or part that needs extra healing energy. And I love it silly. Dr. Joe's conferences, somebody lays down and they just cover them like lights of energy, of love. And that obviously works. There are other groups that are more specific in their intention, and that often works too. But the bottom line is what you said, Karina. The art of coherence healing is one, to be able to find and tune into the individual's consciousness and love him until he feels his energy rise like a temperature raising in the room. You don't love theoretically. You don't love abstractly. Okay, I love you. I love you. I love you. No. You get your heart involved like as if it was a newborn baby, like a little puppy wagging its tail. You get emotionally, chemically, neurologically tuned to the event. And you love with all that your body knows how to communicate.
So, one more question. When you say I tune, do you think tuning like with tuning the piano or tuning an instrument? So, I'm not exactly.
It is theoretically, in the simplest form, the answer is correct. But let me help you with what I'm saying.
Or is it resonant?
What
resonating?
what mother cannot tune into their small child and see if he's okay?
Well,
Most women,
I
right?
can
Most
remember at
women
the beginning, when my child first one was born, I didn't know how to tune in, how to know if they're okay, not okay, and no, this is actually not so uncommon for a little while at least. But in any case, doesn't matter with the mother and the child.
but that's the example I like to use because you can tune in. This is a human thing, but it takes opening up to the possibility that if I can think about that person and seek in the darkness, something will go, oh, there he is. It's a skill that you have, just have not developed. It is human.
Thank you, Ray.
Good, Karina. I always like your input. Point of entry. That was a good statement. I've got it written down over here. I'm going to have to meditate on that. That has got some hidden truths in it. In an infinite field of potential, what is a point of entry? That is something to think about. There's something significant there. Okay. Any last comments before I say goodnight? Okay. Everybody, we've talked about present moment. We've talked about surrender. We've talked about tuning in. And we've also talked about it takes practice. Please don't let this be an academic thing. Be blessed. be loved, and discover your own self.
Thank you, Ray.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.